Hello everyone and welcome back to my Watch Sailor Moon Learn Japanese series. Yes, this is a series. This is part 7 in a series where I go through the first episode of Sailor Moon Classic and I teach Japanese one word at a time. So if you haven't already seen parts 1 through 6, you might want to check those out. Also, let me point out that this series is more for intermediate level Japanese learners, not beginners. If you are a beginning level learner, a lot of this might be over your head, but as luck would have it, I have a Learn Japanese for Absolute Beginners series using the Genki textbook if you want to check that out. But if you're ready to see Sailor Moon kick some ass for the first time, stay tuned. Before we get started, I want to note that I provide my English translated subtitles and the original Japanese script in these clips of the anime that I'm going to show you guys to illustrate what's going on in the scene. And in my translation, you might notice that it's a little bit different from what I'm telling you in the tutorial breakdown. And that's because I do what is called localization when I translate, which means I make it sound like it was originally written in English and not so literally translated. So you might notice I'm embellishing a little bit in the subtitles. That's just to show you where else you can take the translation as a translator, because I'm a translator. So when we last left our heroine, she had just finished transforming into Sailor Moon for the first time. She says, "Uso! Nani kore?" So if you watch a lot of anime, you probably already know uso. Uso literally means lie, but uso said like that means no way, oh my god, this can't be happening. And then nani kore, nani means what, and then kore, this. So literally that's what this, but it's what's going on, what is this? Watashi henshin shichatta! So watashi is I. Henshin is to transform, you might remember from part 6. And it's henshin suru would be like the verb in its neutral form. But she said henshin shichatta. So I already went over in a couple past parts of the series the shichau version of a verb, but I'll just review it quickly again. So suru is just to do a verb normally neutral, but shichau is to either do the verb completely or to do the verb like accidentally, or like it's a bad thing that this verb is being done, or it is a complete thing that this verb is being done. But it's usually like kind of both. It's like bad and complete. So, a common way of using it is like if you accidentally ate your roommate's sandwich, that would be tabechatta. It's like, oh, I accidentally completely ate your sandwich. So henshin shichatta is the past tense of henshin shichau, which is to like accidentally completely transform. So it's, oh no, I've transformed. So these are all, pretty elementary phrases you'll hear in anime. Nan nanoyo is like, what the hell's going on? Nan is what? And then the nanoyo, those are just like endings to a sentence. So nano oftentimes indicates a question. So if it's like nan nano, like with your inflection going up like that, and sometimes there'll even be a question mark in it if it's in manga, it just indicates that that's a question. It's short for like nan nano desu ka, like nano da, nano des, nan des, nano da. It's that sort of grammar rule if you've come across that before. And the yo makes it just a lot stronger. She's just very like, what the hell is going on? This is wrong. Ne means like, hey, or listen, or even please kind of. Ne is sort of an all-purpose, like, hey, listen to me, I'm saying something sort of word. Douyu koto? So douyu means what kind of, and then koto means thing. So literally, what kind of thing? But it actually means like, what's happening, what's going on. What is the meaning of this in like older English, but Usagi probably wouldn't speak like that. Oshiete! So oshiete is the te form of the verb oshieru, which is to teach or show or tell. It's all of those words at once, basically. So oshiete is like the please do this, or the imperative form of that verb. So please tell me, but really not polite. It's a commanding, tell me. And then Usagi hears in her little like jewel things in her odango, which is like, this never happens again. I keep wondering, like, why didn't they ever use this power again in future episodes? Like, that just baffles me. But anyway, she hears Naru-chan in her little odango receivers saying, "Tasukete! Dareka! Tasukete! Tasukete!" Like, just tasukete. So tasukete means help me, or help. Just like oshiete, it comes from the root verb tasukeru, which means to help. And then if it's tasukete, the te form of that, it's like short for tasukete kudasai, please help me. But without the kudasai, it's more just not polite, like, help me. Dareka means someone, literally. And we would say this in English too. We would say, help me, somebody, help me. It's that kind of feeling to it. Then she says, mama ga! Exclamation point. So like, this isn't incomplete, it's a fragment sentence. It's literally, mom is! Exclamation point. So this is one of those examples where in Japanese people trail off and you can tell from context what the rest of their sentence is going to be. But if you translate it literally in English, you don't necessarily know what the rest of the sentence is going to be. The nuances are a little bit different. But yeah, it's really mama ga kurutteru, which is my mom's insane, or mama ga taihen nano, like mom's in trouble or something. But basically she's saying mom is, and not finishing it. And part of the reason why she's not finishing it is, well, she's being strangled. But the other reason why she's not finishing it is it's an uncomfortable thing to say. My mom's gone crazy and she's trying to kill me. Like, that's really uncomfortable and emotional to say. So that's why she didn't finish that thought. But we can tell from context, like, her mom is doing something and it's bad. Help me. And then Usagi thinks to herself, kore wa Naru-chan no koe. So kore wa, I did a whole video on kore wa and all the nuances involved with that phrase. Kore wa literally means this is. And in this case, it actually kind of does mean this is. Like, I did a whole video about how it doesn't always mean this is, and you really need to look at context. But yeah, this is Naru-chan no koe. So no, you might remember, is apostrophe S. Koe is voice. So Naru-chan's voice. So this is Naru-chan's voice. That's kind of a literal, rough translation. She's actually saying, oh, that's Naru-chan's voice is probably more what she'd say in like proper English.
どういうこと？やっと信用した？よくわかんないけど、なるちゃんが危ないみたいなの。
And then Usagi says again, どういうこと? Like, what's the meaning of this? What's going on? What's happening? And then Luna says, やっと信用した? Yatto means finally. Shinyo is to trust, so the normal version of that verb is shinyo suru, but because it's the past tense, shita, instead of just to trust present tense, it is trusted. So finally trusted, question mark, is literally what that sentence is. No pronouns, but from context we can glean, she's saying, oh, so you finally trust me? And then Usagi says, or Sailor Moon says, yoku wakannai kedo. Yoku is an adverb. So you might know the word I, which means good in Japanese. It's also a form of yoi, which means good in Japanese. So the way you turn a adjective into an adverb, if it's an I adjective versus a na adjective, and this is an I adjective because it ends in an I, is you drop the I and you change it into ku. And so that makes like utsukushi would be beautiful, but utsukushiku would be beautifully. Atsui is hot, but then atsuku would be like hotly. So that's how you change I adjectives into adverbs. So in this case, the adjective is yoi, which is good. So yoku means goodly, which is not a word in English. We would say well. That's sort of the adverb version of good. So well. Wakannai. So wakannai, it comes from the verb wakaru, which is to understand something. And then the negative version of that would be wakaranai. But you'll hear this, like I heard this all the time. I hardly ever heard anyone say wakaranai when I was in Japan. It was always wakannai. You change that ra into because it's just a lot easier to say. It's like changing cannot into can't. So yoku wakannai means don't understand it well. Kedo means but. So I don't understand it well, but. And notice she's not saying watashi. She's not using the pronoun for I in there, but context, we know she's talking about herself. So, よくわかんないけど、なるちゃんが危ないみたいなの. So, Naru-chan, Naru-chan, ga, so ga notes that Naru-chan is the subject of the sentence. Abunai is, it means dangerous, but it also means in danger. So if you say X ga abunai, it's like X is in danger. It doesn't mean X is dangerous. So Naru-chan is in danger. And then she adds mitai. at the end of that. So something mitai means it is like something. So Naru-chan ga abunai mitai means it looks like, it seems like Naru-chan is in danger. And then she ends that with nano. So again, this nano thing that keeps coming up, it's very feminine and it's a little emphatic. And again, sometimes it can be a question, and it all comes down to inflection and sometimes question marks in the actual printed Japanese if it's manga or a game or something. But she's like, abunai mitai nano, rather than abunai mitai nano. So you can tell she's not asking, is Naru-chan? Does it seem like Naru-chan's in danger? She's like, no, Naru-chan, I think Naru-chan's in danger.
Usagi-chan, あなたはセーラームーンになったの。さあ、早く助けに行くのよ。
Luna says, Usagi-chan. So let's just note really quickly, I don't remember because I did part 6 of this so long ago. I actually started the series with part 6 and then jumped back to part 1. But Luna calls Usagi Usagi-chan. And it's because Luna, even though she's a cat, and like ordinarily that would be lower in status, she's higher in status than Usagi. She gives Usagi the orders, she's helping Usagi, she's like Usagi's mentor. Usagi's just a kid, and Luna is a lot more mature and older, so that's why she's calling her Chan. So in a way, she's kind of like telegraphing to Usagi, hey, I'm your boss, but not like in a mean, intimidating way. It's in a more compassionate, sweet, motheringly kind of way. So Usagi-chan, anata wa, so anata you, wa is the topic marker. So as for you, ... I'm gonna tell you something about you, Usagi. Seira moon ni natta no. So X ni naru, I know I went over this in a former episode, but I'll review it again. It means to become X. So Seira moon ni naru is to become Sailor Moon. The past tense of naru is natta. So X ni natta is became X. So Seira moon ni natta is became Sailor Moon. So anata wa, as for you, Seira moon ni natta, you became Sailor Moon. So you became Sailor Moon. And then she ends it with no. And again, it's this feminine, emphatic way, stronger way of ending a sentence. She's explaining something to Usagi, and that's why she's kind of ending it with the no. So Usagi-chan, Usagi, my darling, my sweet, you turned into Sailor Moon. Sa means like now, come now. Hayaku, so remember the adverb earlier. Hayaku comes from hayai, which means fast or early. So hayaku is the adverb version of that, so it's quickly. Tasuke ni iku no yo. So tasuke, you might remember what's tasukeru from like earlier in this video. Tasukeru, it's a verb, it means to help. So tasuke ni iku, iku is to go. So the phrase tasuke ni iku is to go help somebody. And then noyo, I've covered this little noyo ending in videos before in the past, but it's this sort of like, imagine a fairy godmother like giving someone a command like, Cinderella, you shall go to the ball. So saith I. It's this mothering way of commanding somebody to do something. That's kind of the best equivalent and way that I can explain the inflection of noyo at the end of something. So quickly go save her, in parentheses. We're not using the her pronoun in here, but it's implied. And then Naru-chan screams, Tasukete! Help me! And then she says, Kudushi! So Kudushi is an adjective that means it's painful. She's not literally saying painful. Who says that? Who talks like that? Kudushi, it really usually means I can't breathe. That's like usually a better translation of Kudushi. So I can't breathe. Yamete comes from the verb yameru, which is to stop something. So the te form, again, we're getting a lot of te forms of verbs in this video. So the te form of yameru turns it into an imperative. So stop, exclamation point, I'm commanding you. Stop it, mama, mom. So I can't breathe. Stop it, mom. And then Morga, disguised as Naru-chan's mom, cackles and says, Watashi wa omae no mama nanka janai yo. So watashi is I. Omae is you, but it's like this condescending, sometimes endearing version of you. It's not a polite version of you. So she's being a little condescending. Watashi wa omae no. So omae no means the no makes it possessive. So it's your, not just you, but your. Mama, mom. So omae no mama, your mom. As for me, 私は omae no mama, your mom, nanka. So ex nanka something. It's usually ex nanka janai. But nanka is like this scoffing, pah, your mom, as if. Like it has that kind of nuance to it. So 私は omae no mama nanka. It's like, I'm not your stupid mom. So she finishes that off after nanka with janai yo. So yo is that imperative strong ending to a sentence. Janai is the way of making something a negative. So 私は omae no mama nanka janai. It's like, I'm not your stupid mom. It has that sort of feeling to it.
お前のママは地下室に閉じ込めてあるのさ。お前を殺した後で一緒にあの世へ送ってやろうね。
And then Morga goes on to say, after she's revealed herself as a yoma, omae no mama wa. So remember omae no mama, your mom, wa, as for the thing, this topic of the sentence. So as for your mom, chikashitsu means the underground room, the basement. Chika is literally like underground. Chikatetsu you might know if you've taken elementary Japanese, that's the subway. So it's the same first two kanji, the chika part's the same, but shitsu is room, so underground room or basement. Chikashitsu ni, so ni is a particle, in this case it's in. Toji komete aru no sa. Toji komete is the te form of the verb toji komeru, which is like two verbs combined together. The toji part means to be closed, and then the kome part is like to be like enclosed, like trapped. So toji komeru is like to trap somebody, close off somebody, to lock somebody up. So toji komete aru, the aru at the end, the te aru is like, I have seen to it that she has been closed off. And then nosa, that's like a triumphant maha sort of ending to a sentence. So chikashitsu ni toji komete aru nosa is like, she's locked. I have locked her up in the basement. So ha, kind of feel to it. That's what happened to your stupid mom. Then she says, omae o koroshita ato de. So omae, you, condescending. O is a particle, so we're going to do a verb to omae, you. Koroshita is past tense to korosu, which is to kill, to murder. So omae o koroshita means killed you. And then we're adding ato to the end of that thought. So omae o koroshita ato. Ato means after. So after I, in parentheses, have killed you. So de is a particle. Often, like when it's paired with ato like this, ato de, it's like after this thing, then these are the following things that are going to take place after this thing. So omae o koroshita ato de, after I've killed you, I'm going to do some things. And the things is, issoni means together. Ano yo. So ano yo literally means that world over there. Again, watch my video on kosoado words if you don't understand the concept of kosoado words. If you're like, what's kosoado? Watch that video because I explain the difference between kore, sore, are, and dore. But ano yo literally means that world, but what it actually means is the underworld, heaven, the afterlife. It doesn't necessarily mean heaven as in like a good place. It just means like the afterlife, dead. So ano yo e is a particle that means towards or to. So towards that world, towards the afterlife. Okutte yarou ne. Okutte is the te form of the verb okuru, which means to send. So ano yo e okuru would be to send to the underworld, to send to the afterlife. Okutte yarou, it is like a, I think I shall do this, let's do this thing version of the verb okutte yaru. So when you add yaru to the end of another verb, it's I'm gonna do this verb. And oftentimes it's like, I will do this for you, like as a favor. So okutte yarou means like, I shall do you a favor by sending you to hell, ishoni, with your mom. Omae o koroshita ato de, after I've killed you. So the whole thought, omae o koroshita ato de ishoni ano yo e okutte yarou ne, means after I've killed you, I'm gonna send you both to hell together. Isn't that nice of me? It's that sort of thought to it. And this is gonna come in so handy in your daily conversations when you're an exchange student in Japan.
誰だお前は。
私は
And then Sailor Moon interrupts her and says, Naru-chan kara hanare nasai, which is Naru-chan. Kara is a particle that means from. So Naru-chan kara, from Naru-chan. Hanare nasai comes from the verb hanareru, which means to separate from something. Hanare nasai is the imperative commanding version of that, and it's kind of like the tone is sort of like what a mom would say to her child who's being a bad child. It's like, "Yasai o tabe nasai." It's like, eat your vegetables. It's like that kind of slightly that kind of feel to it. It's not always like a mom yelling at her child, but it's similar to that. So hanare nasai, Naru-chan kara hanare nasai. From Naru-chan, please separate yourself. So get away from Naru-chan. And then Morga says, "Dare da?" with a question mark. Dare is who. Da is actually just the plain version of des. So like in normal polite textbooky Japanese, that would be dare desu ka? Like, who are you? Even that's kind of a rude thing to say, like, who are you? But dare da, who are you? Omae wa. So omae, you, rude, condescending. Wa, as for you, who are you? So omae wa dare da would be like the more, flows in a normal way of expressing who are you, or who the hell are you, because she's using omae. But you can kind of flip-flop those two halves of the sentence and it still makes sense. And then Sailor Moon's like, who am I? I just found this out like 5 minutes ago. So she says, eto is a filler. It's kind of like, let me see. Atashi wa. So atashi is just a more feminine version of watashi, which means I, me, myself. Atashi wa, like I am,
愛と正義のセーラー服美少女戦士セーラームーン好きに変わってお仕置きよ
And now, my friends, we have arrived at the famous Sailor Moon speech. I was considering doing a whole separate video just breaking down her speech because it's been, I've seen it subtitled so many different ways. None of them are particularly wrong. It's really hard to translate because of the order in which she's saying everything and the fact that there's pauses between all of the things that she's saying. If I could translate this as one big solid fluid paragraph, it would flow a lot better and the translation would be a lot better, frankly. But translated in blocks, that's what we're going to look at now. So she says, "Ai to seigi no." I is love, to is and, seigi is justice, and then no is apostrophe s, or of. So of love and justice, exclamation point. So that's a complete thought of love and justice. See, it doesn't work very well when you chop it up. The next thing she says is seira fuku bishoujo senshi. So seira fuku is a sailor suit, but specifically like the sailor uniform that girls wear in Japanese junior high and high schools. Bishoujo senshi. Okay, so if you're a Sailor Moon fan, you probably know that roughly means pretty soldier. So looking at the kanji, bishoujo, that actually is a word. It's a 3 kanji compound. So shoujo is girl. Bi, just that kanji by itself, it means beautiful. So bishoujo means beautiful girl altogether. Senshi means soldier, warrior, fighter. So bishoujo senshi doesn't mean pretty soldier, it means pretty girl soldier specifically. But pretty girl soldier sounds weird, pretty soldier sounds better. So yeah, the sailor suited pretty girl soldier. And that's just a thought by itself. Sailor suited pretty girl soldier. See, this is why I hate literal translations. And then she goes, Sailor Moon! We all know this part. We can recite it from memory. Tsuki ni kawatte o shioki yo. So tsuki is the moon. Ni is a particle. So to the moon, by the moon, for the moon. But the expression ni kawatte or ni kawaru is like in the name of something. So in this case, the something is the moon. So in the name of the moon. I have seen this translated sometimes as in place of the moon, and that's not wrong, actually. It's sort of like in the name of, in place of, God, kind of like when somebody says like on loan from God or something. Oh God, what's that phrase in English? Like talent on loan from God or something, or like ordained by God or something. It's kind of like that also. It's like ordained by the moon. But yeah, I think In the Name of the Moon is a really good translation, so I'm cool with that. Oshioki yo. So oshioki is punishment, and then yo is like, you know, that stronger ending to a sentence. So this oshioki yo thing, it's kind of something you'd say to a kid. Again, like she's kind of talking to her like a mom would talk to a naughty child. I think part of this might be because Usagi's mom yells at her all the time, so that's kind of what she's drawing on as her inspiration. But then I think it's also because the target audience of this show is little kids. Sorry guys, yes, the target audience for Sailor Moon is little kids. It's okay if you like it anyway. I like My Little Pony, and that target audience was kids. Anyway, so oshioki yo. It's like this warning, I'm gonna spank you. Like, mister, if you don't get down here in 5 minutes, I'm gonna give you a spanking. It's like that kind of oshioki yo. It's not like, oh, I will punish you. It's just, it's kind of playful.
セーラームーン聞いたこともないわそんなもの
Morga says, Sailor Moon. Kita koto mo nai wa sonna mono. So, kita is the past tense of kiku, which is a verb that means to hear. So, heard. Kita koto mo nai. So, I did a video on koto as well. So, if you say something like verb koto ga aru, it means I have done the verb. Verb koto ga nai means I've not done the verb. So kita koto mo nai means I've never heard of you. The wa is a feminine like ending, strong ending to a sentence. So kita koto mo nai wa, I've never even heard of you. Sonna mono. So sonna mono, she's like reducing Sailor Moon to thing status because mono is thing. Sonna mono, like that thing of which you speak. Like I've never heard of that.
さあ目覚めよ我が大いなる支配者にエナジーを捧げしどれどもよ
Sa, again, that come now. Mezame yo. So mezame so mezame comes from mezameru, which is to awaken, to wake up. Mezame yo, it's just another way of saying the command version of that, and it's a little more like a villain would talk, like someone from Game of Thrones would talk, not like contemporary people don't really talk like that. So if you watched, it was either part 3 or part 4, I think it was part 3, my Talk Like a Villain part of this series, she uses the phrase, waga oi naru shihaisha. Waga is old-timey Japanese villains, Game of Thrones characters would use it, but not contemporary people. Waga is my, or our sometimes, my. Oi naru, again, that's an like old-timey Game of Thronesy kind of Japanese speak way of saying grand, great. If you look at the kanji, it's the same kanji you'd use in oki, which is just big. So oi naru shihaisha, ruler, commander, slave driver. So waga oi naru shihaisha, put that thought in brackets, ni. So ni is the particle that means to or for. So to our grand leader, to our my great master. Energy, o, so we're going to do a verb to this energy. Energy o sasageshi. Again, all of these phrases you'll hear from part 3, I think it is, of this series, or part 4. So energy o sasage, sasageru is to bestow, to give. So energy o sasage do would be to like bestow, to give your energy unto me. Sageshi, again, this is like more like a villain would talk, and it's like turning this verb into an adjective. So energy o sasageshi, one who bestows their energy, and then this one, the noun she's going to apply to this now like clumped adjective thing that she's created from energy o sasageshi. Dore domo yo. So dore is slave. And then domo is kind of a way of making something a plural. So dore domo is my slaves. Yo, again, it's the commanding end of a sentence. So waga oi naru shihaisha ni energy o sageshi. So waga oi naru shihaisha ni energy o sasageshi. This is like a whole long ass adjective to describe the slaves. My slaves, my lovely slaves who bestow energy unto our great master. I command thee to awaken. Some more phrases that are totally going to come in really handy the next time you visit Japan. Then Sailor Moon screams and has a hard time fighting. Nani yo? Like, what the hell? Antatachi. So she's saying antatachi instead of anatatachi. Anatatachi would just be you plural. Antatachi is like you plural rude. Even anatatachi is kind of rude, like calling people you don't know anata is rude. But like antatachi, nani yo antatachi, that's like really rude. Like, what the hell are you guys? And then she gets hit and she starts bleeding. Oh my God, blood in a cartoon. And she says, nani kore? So nani what? Kore this? What this? What's this? What's going on? Chi ga deteru. So chi is blood. Ga is the subject marker. So blood is the subject. Deteru comes from the verb deru, which means to escape, to go out. So deteru is like is escaping, is going out. So that whole phrase is chi ga deteru. Blood is coming out. Or in better English, I'm bleeding.
何やってんのセーラームーン戦うのよあのヨーマをやっつけるのよ
And then Luna says, nani yatten no? Like, what the hell are you doing? And again, in proper Japanese, it would be nani yatteru no, but the ru is dropped and changed into because we're just slurring our words in Japanese a little bit and being a little more casual. And Luna's kind of mad. It's like, what the hell are you doing? Sailor Moon. Tatakau no yo. So tatakau is to fight. And then the no yo, that fairy godmother, I'm commanding you, my child. So you must fight, my child. Ano yoma o. Ano is that, yoma is yoma. We went over that in an earlier part of the series. So ano yoma o. So o, the particle, we're going to do a verb to ano yoma, that yoma. Yatsukeru no yo. So yatsukeru means like to take care of, to dispose of, to beat up. No yo. She's doing a lot of this no yo stuff to Usagi because she's kind of like her fairy godmother. So ana yoma yatsukeru no yo, like beat up that yoma, like take out that yoma, take care of that yoma.
なんでどうして私がこんな目に遭わなくちゃいけないの
And then Moon cries and whimpers and says, どうして? Like, why? So it's like, どうして私が? So why do I, こんな目に会わなきゃいけないの? So こんな目に会う. 目に会う is like to meet a certain fate. So こんな目に会う. こんな is this kind of related to the speaker. So like, why does this have to happen to me? It's that sort of feeling to it. So こんな目に会う is like meeting this sort of fate. But こんな目に会わなきゃいけないの, this whole なきゃいけない ending to a verb means why do I have to do this verb? So you drop the u in au and you change it to la, and then you add なきゃいけないの. And that becomes why must I, why do I have to do this verb? Like with taberu, again, the verb to eat, it would be something like なんでこれを食べなきゃいけないの? Would be like, why do I have to eat this? You're dropping the ru and you're adding なきゃいけないの. And then she gets batted around some more. And cries some more, and then she says, "Ouchi ni kaeru." So ouchi is home, ni is to, that particle to. Kaeru is to go home, to return. So she's like, "I'm going home." Todome! And then Morga says, "Todome da." So todome is the final blow, like the death blow. And then da, again, is just the plainer and Game of Thronesier version of desu. So todome desu yo. Like that would be the polite way. I'm gonna kill you now. But Morga's like, todome da. It's like, you're dead. And then Tuxedo Mask's rose hits the ground. And if you want to know what happens, you'll have to tune in next time for my final installment of Watch Sailor Moon Learn Japanese, because this video is already getting quite long as it is. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. I hope you learned some new phrases and gained some new insights to the characters of Sailor Moon by looking at the Japanese in a really detailed way. I make videos on this channel every Tuesday and sometimes other days here and there. As I mentioned earlier, I have a Learn Japanese for Absolute Beginners series that I've just started. I use the textbook Genki, which is a really popular textbook series, but even if you don't have the textbook, you can totally follow along with those videos. Next Tuesday, I'm hoping it's next Tuesday. I said last Tuesday that it would be next Tuesday, and then I said, I hope I wasn't jinxing myself. I was jinxing myself, so I hope I'm not jinxing myself now when I say that next Tuesday, I hope to have a very special video up that I've been working on for like a year. You Moonies will be especially happy about it, I think. If I don't get it up by next Tuesday, it will probably be up by Christmas. I'm also doing a Christmas Eve podcast extravaganza where I'm going to be answering questions from you guys, talking about topics you want me to talk about, singing some Japanese Christmas carols. I don't know, I'll probably do about a half hour to an hour. So send me your suggestions for that video, and I'll see you in a few weeks for the conclusion of this series.
月の光は愛のメッセージ